Welcome to the Was It Good Though podcast. We'll be bringing raw and unfiltered energy for each movie and TV show that we will be reviewing. Just think of it as turning your movie group chat into a podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jazz.
I am Jason. And man, per usual, I got some house rules I want to run through with you. So let's get started. One, we will be spoiling this review. So if you haven't seen it, you haven't watched it, please stop, go check it out, and then come listen to this review. Number two, please like, share, subscribe. Let your friends know, let your church members know, let your family know what we are doing over here at the Was It Good Though podcast. Number three, have fun. We just kicking shit, having fun with my friends. That's what we do. And last but not least, this is not a kid-friendly podcast. So if you're watching with your kids, that's something on you that has nothing to do with us. Let's get to this review. I don't know, cause I don't how I feel about Gail Ghetto. You put her in a movie, I think it deserves to flop. That's just my opinion. So
She's in how many Fast and the Furious movies?
one,
For
she
some
died,
reason,
and they
they
brought her back.
can't
She
flop.
died in one. She died, and then
No,
she
she was
came
in
back.
two movies.
I feel like she
She
was
was
just in one.
she was introduced in one, and then her and Han got together in the second. So she's been in at least three movies. Spoiler alert for anybody who's not fully caught up. The fact that this
Let
is one of
me
Jason's favorite franchises, and I remember that terrible fact is very telling. But
let me see.
while
I gotta say, I got it. Let me check. Let me
okay,
check her stats. And
you,
the fact that she's our age is another thing that's kind of shocking to me. I thought she was over.
I don't know. But while you're looking that up, I'll go ahead and introduce what's going on, y'all. This is the Was It Good Though podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am Jazz.
I am Jason.
And we are here. We review movies and TV shows. So, of course, like you heard in the intro, there will be spoilers. This week, we are reviewing for episode 147, Magazine Dreams, movie that's been talked about. Jonathan Majors' first film after his conviction last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely had to get this on our review list. Jason, you wanted to drop a warning for folks that's listening, just in case if you are
Yes.
new and returning.
Yes. Was It Good Though podcast does not condone, does not um celebrate any of the behaviors that were in the trial or the conviction that unfortunately Jonathan Majors was convicted in. Now, I know with reviewing this, it may be a bit controversial for some, but we're also here to condemn some of those behaviors. So we're gonna get into the gritty of it. Of course, with my sister being on a podcast and just certain things that we discuss. We talk about some no nonsense type of things I want to talk about. But then, of course, the portrayal in this movie is almost similar to the behaviors that were portrayed. And oftentimes, me and Jazz, we talk about stuff and we have a difference of opinion in how to handle them. But she, as a Black woman, has to handle them a bit differently than what I would may suggest or may say in order to keep herself protected or keep herself safe. So we definitely gonna get into the thick of it all because again, today I went through about 8 hours of interviews and conversations and different things so I can make sure that I don't speak to something that I do not know, but also just based on things that I feel, things that I've seen, also just get some opinions out there. And of course, we're gonna get into magazine dreams as well. So everything will be just an amalgam of conversation.
Yeah. So, of course, if you've seen this movie, you already know the tone. Now, your feelings after leaving the movie, I'm curious to hear about. But so let me start there with you, Jason, because I know that I was able to get to the theater before you to watch this, and me in our group chat, it was a few discussions, but not too much anything to spoil it. But I believe I told y'all that this movie had me feeling extremely disturbed and I was not aware of how dark it was going into it. I did have one of the reviews that I listened, or excuse me, that I check out on Instagram, Casual Movie Lovers, let me know that it was dark and twisted, and they kind of compared it to Joker a little bit. So that kind of gave me a little bit of okay, but I ain't think it was gonna go that far. So, what were your feelings during this film, and then after you left the theater?
So watching it, I'm truly, I honestly, I wasn't as disturbed as I wanted to be watching it, just based on, just based on what I was hearing and the things that I was going. Now, that doesn't take away from the amazing performance that Jonathan put on in the film. I do think he put on a master class of acting, just honestly showcasing he is one of the brightest acts of today, as far as the things that he was able to do. And that's we could just go to just body, just his physical look in this film. Like, if you're watching the YouTube, you can see Jazz's, and the way he had to bulk up to create this body, which he was doing it at the same time he was doing Creed. So it was I watched the interview with him. I think I can't think which one it was, but he said he was just always just naturally cut in that way. He didn't have to do too much. Now, of course, to bulk up. Now, I'm listening to him with Stephen A. He's just saying how much he had to eat and all those calories that basically, if you look at the movie, Killian is what he was doing in real life. Like, that's how much he was having to eat, where he was waking up at 1 o'clock drinking muscle shakes to get his day started before he can even eat. So, seeing this, I would love to see him in, more of these dark roles. Like, I don't know how much of a toll it takes on him. And some of it, he did say some of this shit is method acting, which kind of makes sense into, how he does things in real life, how it kind of bleeds over into real life. But what about you, Jazz? What did you think about, just the film?
So, I it was like I was on an emotional roller coaster. Um, I will say I went on a first date to go see this movie. Terrible, terrible idea because it was just so many emotions, and I was just like in the screen in the movie, and it just had me feeling upset. It had me certain stuff had me feeling secondhand embarrassment. It was so dark, and I said, "There is no way he about to do that." Oh, he did it. Please, like what? I didn't have good feelings. Not that he did a bad job with it, but he just had me feelings that don't really tap into much. But I also feel like that just shows the kind of energy and talent he brought to his character. And at the end of it, it took me a while to process everything. And so me and the individual I went out with, we were just, chit chatting and talking about it. And we both pretty much said, possibly watching a rewatch of this, you'll probably catch a few things. Oh my, because I was able to watch this twice. My second rewatch, I didn't have any of those dark, twisted
Mhm.
feelings because I knew what was coming. So I was just like, here your ass go. Back in the grocery store with all three of your bags of groceries to go talk to this white girl. But on my first watch, right, I was just like, please don't go back in there. I was like, come on, don't do it. So yeah, it was. And then I didn't really I couldn't talk to nobody in the group chat because was just seen it. Nobody had saw it yet till Chris saw it the next day. But yeah. But
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
piggyback off of your method acting comment, because I had spoke to my dad about it, I was like, he filmed this and then his incident. And I was like, because we know when people get into that space of their character, like it could possibly bleed over into your personal, which is why you have individuals that take medications and those things. And because I remember Michael B. Jordan said he had to go to therapy after his role in Black Panther because it just put him in that space. Not saying that's what he was going through, but I mean, he might have thought, never mind. I'm gonna leave it alone. But Yeah.
I don't know. What he could have been thinking. But of course, one thing we were interested in is, not necessarily, but the success of this. Of course, this was gearing up, saying this could be an Oscar type of role for him. And I'm putting it back to you, Jazz. What after seeing this film, do you believe this could have been an Oscar portrayed role
Yes.
prior to?
Yes, 100%. Like without a doubt, what he was able to do, the scenes of him working out, the scenes of him interacting with other people. And I'm going to say the most standout scene to me is when he went to the competition. That one shot that followed him down the hallway. I'm
After
just
the after
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 he
the
got jumped,
yeah.
like that shot was crazy.
Hmm.
So, yes. And I will even go further to say if that audio clip did not drop before this movie was released
Hmm.
and it never released,
Hmm.
I could possibly see him being nominated for an Oscar for this role.
Yeah.
But I think that audio clip,
Just wasn't. Yeah,
it
they timed it perfectly. Unfortunately, they definitely they timed it perfectly. Do you think they have more?
shit, they better not. Well, he better hope they better not, because I'm just like, sir, you making it. Well, hopefully not. But if they continue to drop audio clips every time he about to have a movie release, sir, you just need to get on somebody's couch and just
And
like
not to
I
make light, not to make light, not to make light. Me and Jazz were, in the beginning, we were discussing the Marvel. They did the Avengers Doomsday. They kind of released a lot of the actors, and I jokingly said, had they put a Jonathan Majors chair up there would have been video footages that would have been came right after that. Meet the Grams Part Two, had that happen, but his chair hasn't showed up, not yet, at least. So,
yet.
I don't, we said we're speculating that they're gonna do some more dropping of, actors. You think
Let
he
me
wrote,
ask you.
He said he wrote letters to Kevin Feige.
He did. He
You
was
think
writing
Kevin
four
Feige?
page letters to a lot of
Do
people.
you
Uh,
think Kevin? Do you think Kevin Feige?
come on, Jason. You think Kevin read them? And Jonathan said, I don't know if he got him or not. I ain't heard nothing. So, all right. So, if there is space, opportunity for Kang to show up, if you were Marvel, would you hold on to that ace to the end of the game?
Man,
Or
I
would you
don't
let it off
know.
early?
I don't. I That may be an ace in the hole that I would keep. That's a joker or a
Out.
wild card that I would keep. That's not something that I would put out there for people to eat and chew on for 2 years. Because in 2 years they would take that they would take Marvel off the hinges.
I
They'll take the Avengers out of Disneyland. There won't be an A Tower in real world no more neither.
I would let people wait till they get to the theater that them bought all their tickets. Mike, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing? Thank you for
Good.
joining us.
Yeah, I apologize. No, it was family emergency.
Is everything
Right?
okay? You fine?
No, it was okay. I was on the phone. I had a phone with my mother. That was it. Um, but no, everything's fine.
Good. Glad to
Um,
hear. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's actually good to see y'all. Again, it's like having conversations and stuff. Like being a movie critic, and this keeps me sane with with my work life. So you know,
It's balance. It's
yeah.
balance.
The
And if y'all don't recognize or don't are not watching the visuals of this, we do have Jedi Mike, Mr. Michael, with us on the podcast, sir. Yeah, we kind of began the conversation, but not really. I think Jazz first question, which was, how did you feel going into this movie to when you left out of the film?
So first off, I knew about this film for like almost 2 years. Like again, I had some friends of mine who already went to the Tribeca Film Festival, and this was, one of the big things that came out of that festival was that this was Jonathan Majors' best performance to date, and that honestly he was an Oscar contender back then for that year. And then then everything transpired and stuff. So and then with the film, the redistribution being removed and everything. This was also was owned by Disney for a period, and then it was also owned by other studios and stuff that just kind of been like, hey, you want to take it? You want to take it? Here, hot potato.
Mm,
So it's but to see the final product and everything, and this time now, I think after we all kind of process everything and everything let the events transpire, I could just see the final product for what it is. And again, I think this is I told him as I interviewed Jonathan Majors for this film that this was his best performance to date.
yeah.
Now this is a disturbing film, but we'll get into it.
Oh yeah.
um yes,
I mean,
but yeah,
we
Okay.
definitely got to it with it being a very dark film.
yes.
So, so question, Mike. So within the within, you has your interview with Jonathan Majors released? Is that releasing? Let me ask that.
It's on my channel
It's
right
a,
now.
it's on
Yes.
your channel. Okay, got you. Let the people know where to find that.
You can find me on YouTube at Jedi Mike 7, brought to you by Solo Media. Yeah, that full interview is on there. And around with the African American Film Critic Association, you can find on their YouTube channel there, which is the full interview of everybody asking different questions and stuff. So, but yeah, no, it was a great interview, and also you can tell he definitely received praise, and he felt appreciation from his people in that
Mhm.
interview. So it was just good to see that from men, women, and et cetera, that he felt appreciated with this film and everything, especially coming out now. Yeah.
Right.
So, now if you need to step away, brother, please do that. How should I say? So, Jazz, I know we discussed with the audio release, and that probably would stop it from being um Oscar contender. Now, do you think there is a redemption arc for Jonathan Majors in Hollywood?
I believe so. And it might be situations where he'll have to, and I believe I actually just read an article that he did recently to where it's not where he's picking and choosing where to work, but it's more like who's willing to work for him. Because there was also a report this week that he's announced to be starring in a new action movie called True Threat.
Mhm.
And so I did some research on that. Like the director is Gerard McMurphy, who also was the director of the first Purge and
Mm.
Burning Sands.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
also did an episode of the Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone remake called Replay that stars Sanaa Lathan and
Oh, that was hard.
Damson Idris.
Was
Right.
that Dempsey?
Damson,
See,
yeah, he was the son.
I think that's the only episode I was.
Right. Look, it was it kind of like I kind of wish this was better because it was Jordan Peele's name on it. But
Hmm.
like with reading his background, I'm like, okay, he's worked with a lot of black males with them in the lead
Hmm.
position. So I'm actually curious to see what could come from this. But I think it might take a bit of time. And I believe when Ferb was on last week after the pod, we had discussed Jonathan and certain things, just like if he were just to come out and take ownership, like, okay, we got
Hmm.
your audio.
Hmm.
And like you was running, but you got convicted and stuff like that. So it's just like own up to what and not try
Yeah,
to do a bunch of word salad.
yeah,
You've watched more interviews
you
than me,
have to.
so
Yeah, you gotta. It's still like I said. I'm definitely gonna make sure we get Mike with and get Mike on this as well. But yes, I do feel in every interview, it's a thing of him kind of moving around what the actual questions are. I do think I would love to, like, I think Lauren, which is the young lady from the Breakfast Club, we kind of seen the debacle that they had. You would think And even after the situation that they had last week, that the interview would be more, but this interview is honestly in line with Felicia Rashad. Not to no disrespect to Felicia Rashad at all. She's the queen, legend in our, legend in our culture. But like as far as with their numbers, they're very similar. And you would think with him just coming off of what they had, it would be a lot higher. Um, but yeah, like it's a like I said, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's one of those you gotta kind of, unfortunately, you gotta take it on the chin as a man in that situation. And like I said, no, it's tough. It's hard because it once you do it, at that point you kind of, you have to at that point you have to, everybody is looking at you in that moment. But if you continue to try to kind of like push away from it, I know people try to throw out, you got Tanakh, which is the one that plays Namor. He had an incident that came out. You have Robert Downey Jr. A lot of these situations, these incidents are a bit different. But then when you come to when you come to an RDJ, it's a whole thing of, I didn't really realize what was at stake when it came to him becoming Iron Man and how much money had to be put in place for them to do that. Had that movie failed, the person that took the risk behind him would have had to then pay for that entire production, the movie, the marketing, the thing. I love Jonathan Majors. I appreciate what he has brought. It definitely is, like, that was one of the ones that, I don't think I've been disappointed like that since I found that Quentin Miller was writing for Drake. That was when I was 25. Yes. That was the disappointment that I felt when I seen it. And I'm just like, no, this is one of those prominent guys that's going. He was new, so it was easy for you to catch. It wasn't too much work to go figure out what it was. Like, this nigga's in every goddamn thing I'm watching right now.
Right.
What the
Right.
what am I doing? Like, this nigga is killing it, and you just see him is, Last Man in San Francisco. Then it was Lovecraft Country. Then I forgot what it was. Right, I'm like, this nigga's
It was three trailer, like I remember I was in the theater for Wakanda Forever, right? So you're in, I think the Wakanda Forever came in November of 22. And in that theater, you had the Devotion trailer, you
Yeah,
had
Devotion.
that's what it was.
you had also Creed 3, and then you had Ant-Man 3. All of that back to back in and then he had his army commercial, which they only aired for about a month or so
I
prior
remember that.
until they removed it.
I remember when they took that
You
out, they
remember
said,
that?
nah, you're not representing us.
Yeah, yes.
Like, it's all
Oh,
the, like, it was one of those things, like, man, we finally got, what I'm saying, we got one in there. And they only allow us one a cycle. So it took him out. It took him out. Now you got Coleman Domingo, who they've now, put in.
hmm.
This like, no disrespect. That man, that my favorite episode of Euphoria is his standalone episode.
Yes.
I
Yes.
cried. I
Yes.
cried. I
I
cried. Then I
was
was like, I
weird.
said this. I said this, and I had never watched you. That was like, I think that I was like, this nigga. Who is this nigga?
Right.
Man, it's great. And they were like, you didn't watch the Walking. I didn't watch the other Walking Dead. I'm like, bro, they had 1,000 Walking Deads. I wasn't
Law and
gonna.
Order. Like,
I'm
he had
not
an
I'm not tuned
episode.
in. But Mike, I was gonna ask you. So of course the audio came out same week, unfortunately, the release of this movie. Hadn't that come out, where do you think this would have? What do you think this movie would have put him in an Oscar contention still?
So okay, for talking about what I thought this movie will put him in Oscar contention for this, right? Yes, I would have thought it would have, put him in, a spotlight this year, to get him in, and everything. However, there's such thing as promoting and campaigning,
Mhm.
for Oscar, and usually you don't put Oscar movies in, no, March. That's usually not, you kind of push it more early in the year, later on the year, October, November, December, August time. That's kind of where, or even also during film festival time as well, when they, where they kind of sporadic, like, I mean, there's a campaign of Oscar contenders in a certain time of year. They have not broken it. Go ahead, Jazz.
No, I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying, it just normally, it just, yeah, but with the audio, I will say this now. All right, we can curse, can we not?
Yeah, no, let loose, hang loose. Just
Yeah.
keep your shirt on.
Yeah, the person that, that had that footage out, there's some bitch ass niggas. The fact that they released this the week of the release of the film. And not only that, now I'm more salty because we got the footage of Jonathan Majors interview the day after that audio came out. So it was like, but we did an interview the week prior when all that stuff came out. So we all of us had a who had this footage interviewing him, we had to put a precaution like, hey, like I didn't was hesitant even sharing it on my Instagram. Like I put on my YouTube, but my Instagram, social to everybody like that. I was like, you know what I mean? But but that being said, mentioned talking about accountability, right? With this whole audio thing, there's been also this, I will say, his PR that comes with,
Mhm.
him talking about that he was abused as a child by men and women. Now, also that he's kind of been given like a sympathy tour. If some people have said that, him talking about, well, yeah, I gave Kevin Feige a letter, nothing but, love and, appreciation, said thank you, other actors have, reached out to me, won't say their names and all stuff. And he's got him getting married
Yeah,
that
he
week.
got mad the week up. Like if oh my God. Mike,
All of
don't
it.
please.
This is my thing. I do not believe that it's a coincidence that the day that he gets married, that all of a sudden Dawson's audio come out, and everything. But now also I would not be surprised if people from the Zeus Network, who's also the distributors of this, you have to understand the Zeus Network is responsible for damn double homicide. That's what they're responsible for. They're responsible for like they're known for controversy and for drama. So what better way to release audio of this dude, that they had, whether from Rolling Stone, whatever the people got it, just like, hey, we want to get some more eyes on the Zeus network.
But so, because I remember we kind of spoke about this briefly last week, and I, I, I don't think it was them, because how does that benefit you trying to get people in the theater to go see this movie? Now I
Oh
understand like a
no.
lot of the. Let me finish. Let me get my stuff out. Like I know that people have been talking about it like it's a great movie. His performance is amazing. And I understand people who were already just like, regardless of the audio, I'm still going to go see it. But you still have those people that were on the fence. That audio does not help at all. Like, how does that help to make people be like, you know what? I heard that audio. Let me go see him do some crazy shit in this movie. Like, you might have like a few, but like as a studio, would you even risk taking that chance? That's crazy.
So the thing is, they don't care. It's like it's not about you made the comment like, yeah, there are gonna be people who are on the fence. You already made your mind if you were not gonna go see this movie or not, right? That's not the point. It's like it's the same thing in politics. It's like we care about the swing states. We don't care about the states that are not gonna vote this way or that way. We already know we got their vote by default. This they are targeting like people that, what, the people like controversy, they like curiosity, and curiosity kills a cat, what they say. So let's and then we don't care about the theater. It's about their streaming service as well. The Zeus Network, as well, is also premiering the film the same time as the film to be distributed in the theaters. So this is not about, oh, they already know this movie was not banking on making a theatrical run like Window, making money in the box office. This is just people going tied to the Zeus Network that to get eyes onto their to their platform. That is literally what they were trying to do. Now again, we don't know exactly who the main source is, person revealing the information, so it's all speculation. But I'm
Right.
just saying that network is thrive on controversy. I would not be surprised if someone from that own team would be like, "Oh, here you go." Yeah,
But have you seen anybody say they watched this at the house on Zeus Network?
I'm just saying it's not about. Oh, I know. I mean, because I know people who are strong Jonathan Major supporters who will watch that on in the theater and on there. So it's like I know people
I didn't
who
know.
have done that. But
I didn't know it was streaming. I was actually curious. See, now I've heard that rumor. But I thought they took it from Zeus and they took it somewhere else, and it was like a retaliation move. Because
No,
I
no.
don't see, but some people do feel as if some all publicity is good publicity, even if it's
Right.
bad. We can benefit from this type of moment, but everything aligning at one point is like I said, it does it comes off away. So at some point, it's a thing of, and I think that's where I also kind of feel a way about Jonathan at this point, because to me it's like a thing of I've watched him. Like I said, I watched him. Like I said,
Yes.
he's our age. More so me and Jazz. I know a little bit, but I've been watching him. So is this certain things I've seen how he carried himself in certain things. I'm just like, oh, this man, he really this nigga moves so nimble and like how he handles conversations and how he just does certain things. I'm like, man, this nigga he's like a cat. But then it was like controversy, and it's like, whoa, this nigga's just a nigga. He's just a regular person. Like anybody is like, but like at some point, like the characters that you've played, at some nigga beat tap in the tick at some point. That nigga he took accountability for the whatever the situation. You seen Michael K. Powell. What he was going through on set through the battles of and if you going into the trunk, it's like you in a situation that's talking about how you mistreated or abused a person, and you like I said, you was acquitted on two. You was not guilty on two counts. You was guilty on two counts. There's an audio clip that's come out. There's nothing else you can say in that situation, but I missed. It's not. I'm growing. I'm learning. I am
And
doing
there you
it.
go. You said is though it was a certain way that, and listen, my wife, we have a black woman where we have a conversation, whatever about this, and I've seen men, people say he's a good actor, right? He's a great actor. Now, I again, to your point, I had an emotional bond with his performances. When I first saw him in Lovecraft Country, I'm like, I'm ride or die with this nigga. I'm like, and then
Yes.
when going on, he has never disappointed me. And I was like, man, I wanted to see his brother succeed. However, even in the moment when we all know there's a racial conversation, there's a business conversation, and then there's just a social conversation between a man and a woman, regardless of race, right? In this situation, especially a person who was at the come up of success in Marvel and other stuff like that and everything. The evidence that presented himself, and then also the video footage of him running and all of that, right? Um, I just want to say that this situation here, well, there's a lot of things we are hypocritical are in our community where we see people who live legit, deleted people, rappers or other entertainers, free, young, fill in the blank, and other stuff, and people have very controversial opinions. This is just different. I don't like the comparisons that they're using to Robert Downey Jr. and Jeremy Renner and all those people, because that was completely relevant and also out of context. Because those situations were at the time that person in their state of their career was not a bankable person because of their past. However, that was their Robert Downey Jr. That was his past. Went through trial, went through everything, rehab, and all those other things, right? But that wasn't real time. They're betting on in the success of an entire company riding on one actor, right? Especially in the state. I've seen a lot of people in the industry who will say, well, even the interview when I did with John Bench, like, I don't think he should have been fired from Marvel. I want, people bring up Kane. Like, yeah, we want you back, man. We want you back. And people will be like, wait, are you serious? So this is very controversial and very emotional for all of us. And I will not say people are wrong to have an opinion. I can have my stance to saying, listen, with the evidence that presents up with this person as an individual, we all have our trials and tribulations. But yes, there were some alarming things, regardless of how emotional I'm say I love this guy as a performer. There were some things that was alarming. Like, hey man, you have to get this situated. And right now, if I'm a person in the company, I would not, and I'm have a high risk, high reward. I will understand. I would rather drop you in terms of as an actor, and then we'll have a conversation later and making sure, hey, listen, this isn't personal. This is just business. And that, leave what it is. But I mean, again. this movie, going back to this movie and what the material that they were doing is like literally too close to what the case was going
Yeah.
on. And so it made sense for them to drop this film and wait on it until things transpire. But yeah. Yeah.
Did you think like when everything happened, like after the trial, that we were actually even going to get this movie? Because I remember me and Jason was discussing it before the trial even started. It's just like, okay, they were supposed to drop this movie, I believe December of this year that Creed released, but then it,
2023.
it just got shelved. So did you think they were actually ever going to release this?
Yeah, I think they were. It's just a point of distribution, waiting on it. Again, other actors have controversy. Like they either that I've seen movies where they literally recast somebody because of controversy and really like cast an actor to replace this person's lines and role and everything. I forgot what is one film. And then they distribute and have theatrical release and everything. However, this guy is the star of this movie, and even then the context of the actual case and the lawsuit and everything is more of letting the case roll out and then proceed with caution in terms of actually having distribution for this film. Again, this film had a lot of critical praise in film festivals, it's almost like we can't have this crowning jewel that we know that was a big talk in these film festivals and not have it, be released. So they just say, but studios were just gonna play with that risk. Again, Loki, he was in Loki season two, in the middle of the trial, and
Yeah,
so it's just like people were waiting until they got that verdict, and then like, yep, pull this, pull that, yeah. But
yeah.
yeah,
But I want to go back to the point you made about movies releasing that want to pitch being an Oscar.
Oscar, yeah,
Everything Everywhere All at Once dropped at the beginning of the year. It swept the Oscars the following year.
it
That
released in the
is
summer.
no, it didn't. And the reason why I remember that is because we reviewed it.
Oh,
But y'all check out our
yeah,
Everything Everywhere All at Once
it's
review.
but and yeah, beautiful film. One of my favorite films of all time, easily,
Yeah.
easily
Yeah.
top 10.
Definitely very creative. But let me ask
Oh,
you
okay.
this. With Killian's character, do you think he was his own worst enemy with everything that he was pretty much going through, that he kind of he pushed over the first domino piece that had everything else happen in his path?
Yes, and I feel that what I when I interviewed him, I think the question I asked him is that his roles that he take is basically kind of reflection of a part of the black male's identity, where we can be our own worst enemy. Whether it might be um seeking validation through other people and the negative aspects of that. To what extent are we going to get people's approval? And knowing that perfection is something that is not really attainable, is something just knowing how to love and appreciate yourself. Knowing the sense of understanding the dangers of yourself, of you being so blindly devoted to something, not understanding you're harming the people around you, but also especially the people that you care about, like his father, like, a woman that he had feelings for, but then, not understanding just his social cues and stuff, what he's doing because he has such blind devotion. Well, I'm gonna be Mr. Olympian and everything like that and all that and stuff. Yeah, but he was his worst enemy. Uh, and again, I have why is this a tough watch? Because I've been there. Why I think the story can be personal. Um, and I just felt like the way he did it, like even then when he's injecting himself and
Yeah.
doing all this stuff, lifting, and then he just going through the withdrawals and going through like, and passing out. And also, it's a very difficult watch to go through. But again, I've been there, not literally in that type of context, but just emotionally and a mental level. When you're just kind of going like, oh, if I don't do this, this is my blind devotion, everything, not knowing this is hurting you, you know. But yeah, no, this he was his worst enemy.
Yeah.
Man, and I guess maybe that's where it didn't bother me because I would give up in a motherfucking. I will give up so goddamn quick. Like, how you say I gotta do what? Man, I'm
So,
good. I'm
Jason,
good. I'm
if it's
what?
something that
Oh,
you are dedicated and are passionate about,
mm-hmm.
you're not just gonna give up because it's tough.
Jazz, you. You are the first woman I have committed to for 3 years.
Look at
And
that.
like,
That's what I'm
like
talking about.
is yeah, I will give up in a heartbreak. What is this? What is this? Like I played foot. Jay, look, I played football in high school, and I knew I wasn't a good catch. I knew I couldn't catch the ball great. I played like I should have played running back. I was better at that, and I was good at it. I didn't play running back, Jazz, because they ran more. I was like, no, I'm not doing that many sprints. How many sprints do they do compared to the tight ends and the linemen? I'm good. And
But you
that's
run now.
I don't run like I was gonna run then though. It was different. It was different. We gotta do how many reps we gotta do? You know what? I'm gonna go do legs. I'm gonna go do legs. I don't have to do arms. Like, and that's why I got titties now. Because I give up on stuff like that. So at this point, as I've gotten older, I do understand it now. Like to you in order to set yourself apart from the other thing, you can't, kind of like what Killian told baby girl at the dinner
Jess,
table. Yes, like he told her at the dinner table, some stuff you can't allow things to get in the way of your dreams. I loved the mindset, but the execution was terrible. But then I don't know what it was if it was interpersonal skills that he was lacking, if it was emotional skills he lacked, the motors. I don't know what it was that he lacked to be able to function as a regular adult in his time. But those are the things that kind of set him was kind of held him back because he was he we all know a Killian, you know, we kind of talk to him in speaking and keep him moving.
I thought he was on the spectrum. I think
Bingo.
I
I
think he
couldn't. I didn't. I didn't.
Bingo.
I didn't. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't want to get. I don't. Everybody today is everybody
I
diagnosed today with
know.
something. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was something
Yeah.
was
If you
off.
know people
He
on
was
the, you
touched,
understand
is
people on the
what they
spectrum,
say.
like you can identify, especially in our community, you can identify like that was like thank no, Jazz took it right out of my head. I was like,
I,
yep,
it's like because you just see his body movements, like
yes.
when the beginning scene when he was at the gym and the other guys were working out, he wanted to go approach them, but then he stopped and he went back to where he was. And of course, his interactions at his job when he was talking to Jess, like, I don't mean to do this at your workplace. Like, this is our workplace, but you hollering at me while I got customers that I'm ringing up. It's you couldn't do this another time, but I guess not. He had to do it right then and there. But yeah, his social cues with when he picked up the phone, when Jess called and when Brad called, he would just have that long pause. And in the theater, I was like, are you gonna say something or are they just gonna hang up? Like in my mind, I was just like, Killian, say something. So I definitely think he was on the spectrum. And I don't know, it's because he was so focused on, like you guys said, trying to push himself to reach his goals because that was his obsession. To where you're on Google, how do I like interact with people, make people feel comfortable around me? And it's like smile, like he's taking notes. So yeah, his character, it's like Jonathan Majors was able to tap into this on so many levels. His facial expressions, his body movements, like it was just he. I kind of feel like maybe Killian was someone that had traits that he had growing up, but that's just me speculating. I'm not sure. Maybe he's just that good of an actor, but
No, to your point, I thought because you talking about with Spectrum, thought that family member who has Asperger's, basically Asperger's syndrome is basically a form of it's a social is a disorder that basically you cannot able to relate to someone socially, but however they have a narrow range of like interest and devotion to something. So like I want like my cousins, he's just into like comic books, but he's just that's he but he's in it, in it like all of in detail and everything, full like blind like devotion onto it, whatever. And that's where I have conversations with him. It's like, oh, it's like relate to with that happen, but the other part of just like, hey, you want to go play some basketball, whatever, and then it's like it's another and again, I understand I would be very careful not to like just label any like social cue as someone on the spectrum, but like I know like when I was watching that, it's like that same thing came in my head. It's like, yeah, I just know things, the way he was eating his food and all. It was just like it was. too many things. But even then, I think again his performance is just he's very good at handling someone who has balled up emotion, right, and rage
Yeah.
or a lot of energy, right? And to certain roles is like uh I know one of my friends in the critic space would say like, well, when we're thinking about casting somebody for this role, his name come up, Jonathan Majors is very good at releasing a lot of emotion, right? And sometimes that can be too much in terms of the type of character you're trying to perform, right? But in this case, it's what it is. Like again, he's like, socially trying to talk to someone, coworker, cash register and everything, and then like a random white lady looking at her and she doing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well with bloody teeth and everything, and then yeah, it's just a lot of things are just disturbing, but it's just like, yeah, you don't understand where you are right now. The kid, even though the dude that beat him up, whatever, right? At the restaurant, going to the kid, like, all the stuff, taking his coat. Yeah, it's.
I do you feel like, okay, let me ask you this. Um, how did you feel about the pacing of this movie? Because I feel like I didn't realize it was about 2 hours going into it. And so when I was looking at the pacing, I was just like, okay, the first hour seemed like you pretty much got a background of Killian and his goals, his focus, everything. And then soon as you had that competition to where he passed out, the pacing of the movie changed to where he wasn't just focused on his goals anymore, but he was in the process of crashing completely out. He lost his job. Of course, this was after the date with Jess. And then, he's lying to his therapist saying, oh, I got a girlfriend. I'm going to be in a magazine. And the diner scene that you just mentioned, to where he sees one of the guys that beat him up, making an entire scene in this diner that was predominantly white customers. And so for him to react the way that he did, it made me feel sorry and bad for him, but also
Yes.
kind of comedic because he's throwing food at this guy. He's like, don't drink this soda. It's going to make you fat. And nobody is going to like you when you are fat. Which I'm just sitting here. I'm like, that's coming from somebody who's a bodybuilder who most might think he has the ideal body, but doesn't even love himself. You know what I mean? Like he's eating all this food, he's vomiting, he's throwing all of this up to where it's just like, regardless of how you look, if you don't have like self-love and comfort within yourself, you're going to be miserable. So I feel like this movie was telling a lot of very strong messages.
Yes.
And so, but
No.
I say all that to say, what did you think about the pacing of the film?
Hmm. No, you made very good points too. Again, I felt like a lot of things in this film, a lot was happening in the first act, what's going on. And then when the crash out happens, it just becomes sad, right? And then some of those moments, like again, I saying relate to like my past in terms of like my mental health journey and everything, like when I was in college, like had like panic attacks and stuff like that. Now it wasn't like crash outs to like to that extent, but just like knowing just what in the headspace this person is in, not understanding what is happening around him is sad. um and but I felt the way like after that crash out, everything's coming in. I totally forgot there was 2 hours. It felt longer, with everything, but those moments where it's like the moments of you feeling uncomfortable was what dragging the time. It feels
Mm-hmm.
like making a scene longer than it actually is, and you're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and the scene, and then oh my God, it's getting worse. Oh my God, he's jumping on the table. Oh my God, he's doing this, and then, oh God, the cops are here and beating his ass.
It just kept it just kept escalating. And
It's-
I honestly feel like the last hour of this film was a roller coaster of, well, from my experience, sitting at the edge of my seat. Because I was just like, how is his story going to end? Because I was thinking it's going to end violently. You see him leaving therapy. Um, and so he's already lying to her. He's over here pretending like he's shooting people in a random parking lot. He gets a gun. He's acting crazy at a diner, and the police roll up on him. He's bashing his head in a car, destroying. It's just I'm like, are the cops gonna kill him? Oh, okay, no. Is he gonna fall? Is he gonna jump off this bridge, commit suicide? Oh no. Like I'm just like, what's happening? I was just thinking of when y'all gonna stop messing up my nerves and tell me exactly what happens, but they just kept throwing another random situation that he was going through. Like I just
Yeah.
whew.
And I think that's also not trying to, I don't want to say, I don't use the word trauma dumping, but like in a way that's like over and over again, where it's like, yeah, trying to keep the edge of the seat, but it almost like, I don't want to say it feels, um, not comedic. It just feels like, okay, you just doing this as a joke. You're like, oh, is he gonna do it? Is he not? Like, hey, is he gonna do it? Whatever. But then you're playing with me to the point now it's like, okay, just you're almost kind of emotionally detached from that scene instead of just being invested at the moment because you have, as a narrative storyteller, you have walked me through, where I think this is going, but also again, surprises might happen, but not in a way where it's like it feels reckless in terms of your storytelling. Where it's just like I don't even know where we're going here and stuff like that. It's just because like
Ooh.
Euphoria, you mentioned Euphoria. Euphoria has a nice way of balancing like when when someone's high and going and when craziness is happening, and then when you have those slow moments of just them talking, but yet again, I have my own issues with that show too. But it just I've seen them do a good job at pacing in certain moments. But anyway, go
I
ahead.
mean, Euphoria had a
For
lot
real.
of characters that were moving slow that balanced out the storylines of people whose
That is true.
storyline was completely crazy. Killian was the main person. He was in every scene. So, and
Are
we
we?
saw the up and down story he was going through. Sorry, Jason,
Are
go
you?
ahead.
Are you? No, you know you good because I was trying to make sure I was keeping. Are we referring to the pacing of the story like when we got to the diner?
Yes.
Yeah, or just like after his crash out, which was I think the crash out began after his competition.
Yeah.
And I think that's when the pacing of the movie started to go a different way. Cause I
I agree. I agree. I agree because when he they say never meet your idols. That whole thing was kind of wild. I was just like, yo, yo, like nigga, you like is was it? Did you aim high enough, sir? Like you know what I'm saying? At some point it was just like I was like, yo, what do we?
I didn't think it was gonna go down that road. I was hoping it would not go down that road, but when Brad opened up his shirt, he's like, "You want to touch him? Go ahead." I was like, "Nah, y'all not about to do that. Y'all
I
not."
didn't I didn't think I didn't think so. But then he rose about the bed. I said no, no. You cried. He spit when he left out. I said, "Oh, this nigga was just this nigga was wilding." What?
I,
You didn't peep that detail? When he spit.
no, I did when he was putting his finger in his mouth trying to get the crevices out.
I was like, "Oh man, this nigga, man, this is Brad. Brad, if you don't answer me, I was like, this nigga turned into Stan. Like, that's what it felt
Turn
like. It felt like
into he was
it
staying
felt.
at the beginning of the
If it
movie.
was it was like Joker meets Stan. That's what it felt like. When I was watching it, I was just like, man, this is he's man, that, and that's why for me it was I wanted to end. It was like, bro, you know what? Because I don't know the pacing of this is going. Just pull a Joker, and now we need to pull the Joker. Do it. Do that. Do that. Get the man out of here at this point.
Do you think Brad took advantage of him? Because that's
A
what I
hundred.
got from it.
A
Yeah.
thousand
Yeah,
percent.
okay.
You my biggest fan. Is
That's right.
that right?
Man. I was hoping that scene where he lit his ass up. I was hoping that wasn't a vision. And I thought it was just like gonna be that and everybody taking pictures and then it would just go black. That's how I thought the movie was gonna end, but it didn't. And I would not have been mad if it did end that way, but they probably weren't trying to send that message.
Nope. Absolutely not.
So
Absolutely not.
but I was like, I will say we haven't touched on it. The cinematography in this movie, I loved it. I loved it so much. And it's just the different details, the lighting of when he went out jogging at night. And I will say the sprinkle of different racism was throughout the movie, but it wasn't at a high level. It was about,
Yes.
it was like a 3 out of 10. So it wasn't over exact. You felt it, but it wasn't too heavy, in my opinion. But
Hmm.
did you have any favorite shots from the cinematography or a scene within this movie?
No, I think just when really was that moment, moment when he's being, judged, by the performers and after the crash out and everything, him going down and falling down, it's just the way like the lights are coming in, but you're hearing people's. There's also the sound design too, because you're hearing,
Yeah.
you're hearing people's talking, then you're hearing him just going out, and then him just, whatever and all that stuff, and then just like it's a lot of intensity in that. However, that scene remind me of his Whiplash when Miles Teller after he got in the car accident, but he was on the way to performance and like boom, he got it, and then he was trying to perform, but yet he's all bloody up and everything and stuff, and he's crashing out during performance, and J.K. Simmons is just smiling at him, whatever. That was where it just kind of reminded me of that scene there, but. Yeah, I felt like that moment was just the way to kind of do that, but then also his training sequences too, like they have him in such of a gray like area like background and stuff, kind of giving a sense of the mood of him. um and then really moments of him kind of self-isolation in his room, like again
Yeah.
kind of creating that atmosphere too. But yeah, I like, yeah, those are a few scenes I like, that it was shot very well, but this whole film game was shot too, it was very well.
Yeah. Jason, did you
Yeah,
have any favorite scenes or did you appreciate or enjoy the cinematography from this movie?
I did. It when he got into the fight, it felt like a I wish it was. I wish it was a one shot. I know it probably was kind of hard to do that because from when he got beat up to making it to the place that that's a bit. You have to. You can't. You got to cut that time down, doing that. But that scene when there's consequences for your actions. So
Yep.
him, going over there, crashing out, going crazy. And I'm wondering, like, is something ever going to like? He didn't get arrested behind this situation. He
Yeah.
even if he goes to the ambulance, thinking back to one of them days, go check out their review
Yeah.
when they said we still got your information. You can't. Like, what are you running from? It's coming to you. So at no point in this, none of this happened. Like, oh shit, that's a nice touch to it. Somebody up came and touched him up. And I thought that was going to be a reoccurring battle throughout the movie to they got to a point of you know, he did something very serious to him. Um, so that scene going to him making to that competition all messed up, which it made sense when I was like, "Hey, buddy, you need to go see a doctor. He don't like being touched." So him tripping out on people touching him, fixing him up, he wasn't going for that as well. But it was like, man, you had this dream and you allowed your anger to control you in that moment. And it also spoke to the lady who was that like who was that a therapist was I don't was that a therapist that he was speaking with who was
Yeah.
that woman.
I think, or his social worker, either one of the two,
Uh,
because he had a past of threatening people, saying he's going to bust open their skulls and drink their brains through their skull. Seems like a wild threat, but she mentioned it. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he said it later in the movie to the guy he was on the phone with.
Oh,
he did and see okay
So
so and I thought at first when he speaks to her it's stuff that's already happened, we just see it late.
got you. Okay.
I
yes.
thought that's what was happening because I'm like, damn, is he? And then he every time he did something, he goes back and it's the other part of him, the whole thing of the mental health aspect, him going to therapy and lying. You're in therapy, lying through your therapist, and she's not checking it, she's just writing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. And does she believe it? Does she not? She wasn't challenging him. She just would come back with a new question. And what about this? You said this, but this is what I
Yeah.
heard. How much can she push? You know what I'm saying? In that situation to the point of he fired his therapist after he done bought guns.
I was I was gonna ask y'all. I was gonna ask y'all, do y'all think she failed him? Or was she just using the information that he gave her?
if she's a social worker, man, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, bro. Um, we have somebody, Jazz, you don't know this, but we've had somebody that, they go to their social worker for a situation that they're going through, and kid tells them something very important. Social, oh, okay, I got you. They don't even file the paperwork. So now the concern that person we know has an issue is not addressed. Said issue is now has now escalated to a larger issue now because XYZ, and it's just those different little avenues of, and this is a kid, we talking about a grown man in the movie, but this is a real life situation of a kid addressing something or bringing something up of a concern. People are just checking boxes. And it's like everything can't be a box check, especially when it comes to mental health and mental welfare. Not mental welfare, but your physical welfare or well-being. Is these some of these things that you have to take
Yep. Yeah.
take inventory on. It's a real thing. Some of these situations think, this situation here, no life was lost, but potentially you're threatening a life loss in that. And then it's just, oh my God, what could we have done? It is so many things you skipped. Checking the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I as someone who kind of went through different like therapists at the time, like in college, it was very, very rough, like traumatic time for me. Um and But once it's sometimes some of the best therapists really is the ones that can check your bullshit. And I'm not in the way of like, oh, disrespecting you as a not tending to your needs, but understanding the pattern that you're doing and not enabling that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those things where even sometimes, and then again, I'm not saying that therapists can't, help on it because now it's like because of my own experience now, I'm used to the person that I check somebody's bullshit. Like you don't have to go to social work. I'll tell you. Like, but at the same time, uh I notice patterns in behavior and stuff and don't like when watching friends like, wait, you say you're quote quote friends with this person. You're hearing and seeing what the stuff they're going through, and you're enabling this, and yet you have this idea about this person, and they don't even know that you think this about them. How are you the friend? And then yet when bad stuff happens, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he did this XYZ. Like, wait, hold on, the signs was there and you could have prevented and I'm not saying that this situation is your fault, but you didn't make this situation better by just sitting there and being complacent on this type of behavior and not checking it or XYZ. And those things, and especially if you're in that profession from an authoritative, position, whatever, of like, oh, I'm trained, I'm a PhD and all that stuff, like whatever. And yeah, you willingly are doing this. This is where I call where the practices of is BS and a scam. And in some cases where people like were potentially are being complacent, and trying to do the bare minimum, and yet your profession to actually be saving people's lives. So by allowing them to save themselves, and you think that's a simple, thing to do, but sometimes the hardest thing to do when people can just pay attention with the words that are coming exactly out of people's mouth and understand behavior, because sometimes not even that they're lying to you, they're lying to themselves, right?
Right.
And identifying that. So yeah, I watching and saying his therapy is love like, yep, I've been there. I lied to a therapist before, not because I was afraid, oh, I was gonna get in trouble. I was like, no, 'cause I was lying to myself, you
Right.
know?
And
Yeah.
he was definitely heavy-handed on that. But I want to talk about this date scene with Jess, y'all. I'm not gonna lie.
Amazing.
This was where I had secondhand embarrassment
Yeah.
because I'm just like, you
Mm.
see her facial expressions, her body language, because at first it was going good. And then he felt the need to say his father is dead and his father killed his mother and then killed himself. Sis immediately was thinking of her way out of this date. And he ordered all that food. But like we already discussed, social cues.
Yeah.
He thought everything was going fine. She was laughing at his jokes, but yeah.
I don't think now, pardon me, I don't know. I watched the scene again and whatever, but I don't know if it was the moment about the about the father and Pat, the tragic past. I think it was the moment when he was going in about his eating
Hmm.
and ordering the food and also talking about the Olympic because it might have revealed insecurity about herself. It's like this dude's a now again a woman hearing dude about oh this happened to your parents and all stuff like that. Yeah, where's the door? I don't know. But at the same time, we all have our past and some all situation. He's a child. He had no control over that situation and everything. However, it was I'm paying attention like when he was mentioning stuff about himself, his appearance, about his food, and what he was eating, but striving for that, and that might have revealed the insecurity in herself, where it's just like, okay, yeah, this guy, I'm not gonna, probably not gonna go to do this, whatever. So I might just head out because again, you watched how she was ordering her food. She's like, no, I'll have this, whatever. And mind you, I think it was like she ordered something else, and she's like, no, I'll take some like a salad or something like that,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
So
yeah,
no,
I
I
think.
think I think you're right. I think so. I'll say this. I don't think it was just that moment when he mentioned his parents. I think it was building up.
Oh yes,
And then once he mentioned Brad, when he was just like two-time Olympian magazine cover, like he was going through that in list because she thought he was just a friend. And he was just like, you should get out more. And he just goes through that entire list of like, oh, you're really obsessed with this guy.
hmm
And she was trying to start conversations with him. And then he just went deep into his head of, I'm going to be something. Do the customers at work ever make you feel like you're not there? And she's just like trying to pivot the conversation, but he was just
It was
in his own mind.
I thought it was lost when he said so. It was, it was like the joke. It felt like they were going back and forth, bantering, joking. And he, my parents dead, and she was like, "Oh my God, you so funny." He was like, "Mm, mm, they did." Mm. She was like, "Oh," and then at that point, he just started, he just
He
started
went
going off.
echo chamber, just
Did he
tunnel
ordering the
vision.
food?
He scared the hoes, basically. That's basically what it was. That's exactly I thought about that. He ordered all that food. I was just like, oh, you scaring him for real. Jess looked terrified.
Yeah, that was man. I was looking at this. I was like, "Oh my God, this nigga is losing it, bro."
Yeah. In that situation, I eat before I go. Like, if in a situation, if I'm insecure about if I have to eat, because I have allergies, right? A lot of allergies, or so it's like, be like, I don't want to look like I'm this, hyperallergenic, type of, the thing. Now, this is insecure Mike back in the day, whatever, right? So I was just like, yeah, I'll just have the chicken tenders and fries. Are you sure you don't want? No, it's fine. It's fine. I already ate before I got here. And then I'm having a conversation. I don't barely eat my food, and all that stuff. So it's just like, oh, I'm nervous when I'm eating. When I'm nervous, I don't eat. So it's like for some people, when they nervous, they do eat. So it's
Yeah.
it's a whole other thing. So, but yeah, the fact that that waitress came up to like, hey, she left, just letting you know.
10 minutes ago. 10 minutes. She's not even in the parking lot anymore. They waited. She told them, like, all right, so y'all give me like a 10-minute head start and I'm gonna go. And Jason, at the beginning of the episode, you said we were going to discuss something of how you would have handled it versus how women would have handled it. Was that this scene of
Ooh.
her leaving without telling them?
I would- I know. I don't. You
Oh,
know what? I don't think I would have. I think yeah,
because I guess some people
'cause
might look at it like, oh, she should have told him, like, hey, this ain't gonna work out. I'm gonna go ahead and head out. Instead of doing the ghost. Like she literally ghosted him in live action.
this is one of those moments of you never want to be the the angry black man. And I think he mentions it as far as being the big angry, but nigga, you kind of scary, bro. Like you're scary. The conversation you having, you went from being very jokey to very dark, and you just going in and out of these conversations like second nature. You're scaring me. You have scared me to the point of I don't even want to return. He told me, I told my niggas, the joke was I told my dad about you too. Ah, he did. I'm playing. Bro, what?
I'm not gonna lie. If I was just, I would have laughed too. I would have been like, oh, for real.
She was like, it's like, is she looking at it like, oh my God, he really liked me. He told your people, like, he could have just said, I told my pawpaw. Because he did. Like, his pawpaw was like,
You shouldn't have said pawpaw.
I
To
mean,
a grown man
Well,
saying,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's the way he said it, but it's like, again, you can have some dark humor, like, and people, and some, I know some people that be into that, be like, yeah, yeah, you did, you try to out yourself, I out myself too. What you did? Oh, I use I use some pills, blah 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 blah, whatever. It's like, oh no, we amateurs, and we guess what? We failed at life, and we fail at even trying to take off. That's crazy. See, you laughing, you smiling, you smiling, you're smiling.
all
See,
right, so
it's the way you do it.
Mike went dark on there.
I like
Like,
it though.
But
yo,
you
I mean, I
see, I'm
don't,
saying there's a way you handle that type of humor, right? Because again, some of the darkest, like some of the funniest humor come from experience sometimes,
does.
It's just like, just keep it a buck. But the way he did it and stuff like this is like, you know what? Okay. Um, is that, he out your mama? Is that genetic? I don't know. That get passed down?
right. So you ain't got no parents? Dang, so you ain't really tell nobody about me.
Right.
Like, man. So, yeah, that was that. But so and like I said, I was looking at the Breakfast Club interview. This is on the point I think last point that I have because
Mhm.
I think this has been an amazing conversation.
Great
And
conversation.
man, I know you can get that dark, Mike. That was good. Don't do that no
Oh, yeah,
more.
listen, down to was it well, I forgot the name of the podcast that the guys do on Sunday. Um the
Talking ish, a podcast
Talking Ish
amongst
podcast.
friends.
Yes. Talking Ish podcast amongst friends. Again, love to be back there anytime, whatever. We want to have dark, not dark conversation, but deep conversations,
Mhm.
Just because it's deep doesn't mean there's light in it, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, see, you see what I did there? See, yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, we talk about some serious stuff and everything. Yeah, a lot. I have a long, lot of stories to tell y'all. But yeah, yeah. So
But it was, I know Charlemagne, he mentioned, while he loved the movie, he felt like it was unresolved. Um, do what message did you get from the movie, Mike? And was there a conclusion for you?
the conclusion is basically, what does blind devotion, seeking validation through other people instead of yourself, a false sense of identity, um, and especially understanding the importance of social cue, but also understanding your worth and knowing you can't do this by yourself. Is one thing to have dreams and aspirations, but knowing there's a line that you don't want to cross where it becomes a very damaging thing in your life. So when a point where you know how it ended unresolved, how it ended up kind of abruptly with that, um, it just kind of showed what is the worst case scenario of trying to strive for your dreams and ambitions and aspirations, and knowing that when you don't have someone that's able to check you, don't have friends in your corner, you don't have people that's actually being honest with you, um, and understanding that when you have a problem that you're able to address it and knowing how to regulate your emotions too. Doesn't mean emotions are not good or bad, just how you regulate them determines the consequences, whether it can be a benefit for you or a detriment. But I felt like, though, like, to me, even though the ending of the film kind of ended the way it did, is that to me the message is just saying that you can't strive for your dreams and aspirations by yourself, and also at what cost does your dreams have on your mental well-being, your spirit, your body, and also the people around you that you care about? Because he cared about people. He cared about his papa. He cared about, all those things. But at what cost that, came with his own, image of himself, his own sanity. Yeah, that's really to me is the message of the film.
James, I feel like he was going to say something. Like I don't know. I didn't know if he was to disagree or rebut something.
No, I can't rebut. the message that Mike got from it.
Oh yeah, I know
But
what I was saying. I didn't know if you it was
oh,
maybe it was the wording or something. Maybe I don't.
oh, no, 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 no. Mm-mm. I was just
Okay, got
listening.
you. Okay, got you. Yeah. But what about you, Jazz? What did you know? What message did you get? It was the same message, different, or
So I don't think it was the same message.
Mhm.
I probably agree with 19.27% of Mike's message from it, but also he received it from coming from a black man's point of view. I'm a black woman saying it, so of course that message would be a lot different. But I do think with him not having those emotional connections was a disadvantage for him. He didn't have anybody to talk to about those things, and he had his pawpaw at such a high standard to him, but he never really actually talked to him and communicated with him. And his pawpaw would say things of like, everybody is um complaining, like, life ain't supposed to be easy, because of course you had those news reports, because it was also interesting how we always saw something that was on the news. And his pawpaw was like, "You not like that, Killian. You go ahead and do what you need to do and you don't complain." And I feel like hearing that from his pawpaw, to where it's just like, I can't speak to anybody about the hurt and the pain or complaining of what I'm going through. I just have to suck it up and push through. And so I thought that was very interesting. But also the fact that um, he was poisoning himself to try to get to his goal. Like those steroids, you doing coke every day, and it's just you are breaking down your body, which is what you need to reach your goal. You're saying, "Oh, I can't have a knife on me. I can't have surgery," because you can't have scars if you're a bodybuilder. But I believe that bodybuilder that was beside him had tattoos. But, I digress. But I was just, it was, he, like Mike said, he was just looking so much for acceptance, because I feel like if you're trying to get acceptance from others and that's what's motivating you, you're on a hamster wheel and you're not moving anywhere. You're not progressing. And Jason, I believe I told you in the I mentioned in the group chat, like I've seen that close to home, of people that are so fixated on others loving them, they don't know how to love themselves. And I feel like it's a failed mission. Do not find acceptance and love within you, that you have to get it from other people, because it's not going to end well. So, but what message did you get from it?
Man. So we have to. So it's kind of hard, Like I say, you do have. Well, one, if you want to be something, you have to be dedicated to it. Now that dedication, you can't lose sight of everything else, because everything does matter. Now that you said it, Jazz, you're right. He never really spoke to his granddad, but I do think so. That's where I'm going to relate to Killian, because now I'm 35 and I just asked my granddad, some personal things about his life. And I lived with him, my entire life almost. There's conversations with my father I still haven't, there's doors I haven't opened. There's things that I began to understand, began to know, and there's things that, some I would like to sit down. There's kind of like I've told my dad, there's his life is very interesting to me. It's I think his life is a very interesting to a black man, as someone who, goes from the streets to a doctor. Like literally, in the streets to being a doc, being locked up, to coming home, to being a doctor, a professor, creating a business, being someone who can, go into a business and help you sustain yours. Type of, to a man that did a TED talk. Like you, my father. There's something, but there in that interpersonal connection, there's something that he didn't have. But he also lost his mother when he was, 5, 6. He was a baby when he lost his mother. He didn't have a relationship with his father. He was raised by his grandmother. in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? She put him out the house because of the things that he was doing, consequences of the actual actions, you know. But then you have, you know, going to therapy. I've been the kid in therapy lying to my therapist, ashamed of guilt, you know, being judged or however it may feel, because it's the whole thing of you having to sit there in the mirror. And that's where the reality comes at for, you know, Jonathan, well, Jonathan as a person, you know, but who am I? You know, I have flaws, I have things that I still have to work on. So at the same exact time, I do feel like a hypocrite to call him out for anything that he has done. But a lot of things I have put my shit on Front Street as things that I've worked out or things that I have done with said people in those moments or those situations. Um, but then you get to, you know, the crash out, you know, when you finally hit those moments of where where you have to crash out, where you just can't, you don't have it in you no more, where you're crying every day. It's hard to get out the bed, where you gotta still do it. And I have children, so it don't matter what the fuck going on. Whether my leg hurts, whether I'm aching, I'm not, you know, 35, you know, sometimes you wake up like, damn, niggas, I'm finally feeling them aches. Is this the aches that they be talking about, you know, a little bit? But I gotta keep on pushing because ultimately these kids have to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still a thing, and regardless of what situation I've put myself in, I did that. These I have to be accountable for what I have done, and these are things that I have to take care of. And it's the whole thing of, I guess, the ending. I guess I would have much rather it played out either for me in the end. Like I said, I do think the third act of the movie for me personally is the weakest, because it either had to be a super, I wanted to either really really crash out where it's just like, bruh, this is just so effed up, or in a moment of him being able to, I don't want to say civilize himself, or because it's just kind of like he finally came to his granddad like, I don't have it, I don't understand. And he finally had this. I've been looking at this Brad dude the entire time, but it was me. What I am looking at, what am I? It me. I'm the goal here. Like this is. I should be. I should be happy with who I am, what I am, what I look like, what I feel like. I look good for myself. This is. I've achieved this. I've made this. This is what I was striving for. X, Y, Z. And this. Is. Sometimes life teaches you, sometimes, and when you learn it, unfortunately, sometimes we're older, sometimes we're younger. Hopefully, you can catch it whenever you catch it, but it's never too late to fix, change, pivot to something different in those moments. So it's a multitude of different things within this in this movie. Like that's a roundabout way of saying that, I guess, because it hits on a lot of different levels as you begin to think about it. But like I said, looking at it from, like I said, black man perspective, or even one thing I didn't touch on is when he tried to pay for the prostitute, um and he had her in the room, and he was like, you don't even like me. Like, you're not, it's just like he should, like, well, I mean, shit, that's not what this situation is. And I'm glad he didn't, and that's it. He didn't take advantage of people. He
Yeah.
never took advantage of people, but I think that's also where that naivete would be in those moments. That's why he was just like, you take it, he kind of went overload when people took advantage of situations. Except Brad. That's where I, you know what I'm saying? Crash out on Brad. But yeah, man.
Yeah. The scene where he was with the prostitute, I was just like, is he about to get him some? And I was like, we gonna peek when he was just like, what was the name of the body? Deltoid.
The deltoids.
And
The
he
right
was
here.
just like, do you like my
Right back here.
deltoids? And she said, boo, I don't even know what that is. And so it's just like he's expecting people to know these different body parts. Because I work out. I couldn't even tell you what it was prior to this movie. But he
Women don't have them.
good. Oh, that's even great. Well, I couldn't tell
I'm,
you it on
I'm
a man's body
lying.
either.
I
Oh,
don't
damn
know.
it, Jason. The lies. Stop it. But it was just, and you brought up the scene with him and his pawpaw at the end when he cried on his shoulder. I got a little teary eyed, but I was like, nah, thug tears, they don't come down. But I appreciate that scene because it's just like you had that vulnerability between them that you didn't see at all throughout this movie. His pawpaw realized he needs me, and Killian looked at him like you said, Jason, like, yo, I was about to do something crazy. So, but yeah, I enjoyed the end of the movie, but I understand y'all said it. The third act kind of slowed stuff down.
Nigga just
But
threw the gun. He just threw the guns by the train. Like
yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I
he
wouldn't.
cleaned them. Like he just threw the money. What was he even getting money at that point? He ain't ever just like
So
what?
I think it's because since his pawpaw was a veteran, he was getting that veteran check.
Mm.
So I think that's pretty much where it came from. But I do want to say I love the scenes. I love the camera angles when he was in the car, even though I felt like I was getting motion sickness. But the way that the shots were, because I'm just like, why are you driving so hastily? When he went to that hardware store, when he went to the
Teach
competition, I was like, damn, Jonathan, like, Killian, slow down. Like, where are the police? Nowhere to be found. But
me.
I do have a question for y'all. After he got jumped, did you think he jumped in the car to go catch up with the folks in the van?
I did. If initially I did,
That's
I
what I
thought he was.
thought.
I thought he was going to go chase them in the van. It ain't in the van. They ain't gonna get too far.
That's what I
But
thought too. Then he
Yeah,
rolled up.
yeah, I didn't think yeah, I think he was on the way to the competition whatever, but I didn't think he was trying to really catch up to him whatever, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah. Again, it was still kind of moving slow like the sim scenes I felt like, wait, it's already been 2 hours. Oh, okay. It just felt longer.
And it wasn't too much dialogue in the second half either, because it was kind of just him and you got some music, but
Yeah.
yeah, I get that. But was there any other scenes that y'all wanted to discuss?
No, I again, it just I'm not watching this movie again. I'm just saying this as a whole. I'm not watching the movie again. I'll probably watch maybe scenes or moments, whatever, but it determines his performance. But yeah, this is a difficult watch. But again, I think it was impactful, his performance we pull out of it, but and also I think there's something this process, this film, particularly this one, brought something out of him that I hope he in his personal life has resolved. Um, and what he said in his press tour, and we take it what is it to be truthful. Um, but yeah, I feel again this is just um, I think depending how responsive this film is going to be. I mean, even then the movie came out and stuff, but on the long term end, right? Hopefully this can again just be a stepping point, a new pathway of his career. Um, and still hopefully that he can still pull critically acclaimed performances, but also in the right time and the right factors in life where where he gets. Oh, my phone just cut off. But you can still see me, right? Oh, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. That we can that he can still basically receive his accolades. Definitely just put in hard work because you can't say this man has not been working. You can't say, not been putting in work, as a performer, as an artist and everything. But yeah, I understand why this film had to be pulled, but I'd say now the film came out and stuff, we can all, enjoy his performance. And all I can do is just, wait till next film or performance, come out. And I believe he's signed to more projects in the future, so he ain't, going nowhere. He's here to stay. So hopefully he can stay and get stay out of situations and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah. And it did I had mentioned this before you jumped on, Mike, that he definitely he signed with to be a lead in a movie called True Threat. So that's one project that we know that he has coming up. But
yeah,
Jason, did you have any other scenes that you wanted to discuss?
I didn't. I didn't. I think we went through everything that I had within the movie. Like I said, I mean, we'll get, was it good though? But yeah, I definitely appreciated the scenes that I did see, outside that, the pacing on there. But yeah.
Okay. And I do want to make mention the director and screenplay writer Elijah Bryam was the screenplay writer and director for this film. He also did Hot Summer Nights, that stars Chris's guy, Timothy. Oh God, what is his name from
Chalamet,
Dune? Chalamet, yes,
Chandelier.
Chandelier. Timothy from Dune, and he also he also wrote The Deliverance, that was
Yeah,
directed by Lee
Lee
Daniels.
Daniels. Yep, I
Yes,
interviewed him.
so yeah, I would say the cinematography that he put into this, I want to see more projects from him. Uh, yeah, I think it'll be very interesting. But that's all I had for magazine dreams. Let me start with you, Mike, since you are our guest. The reason why we are here, was it good though?
Um, was it good? I'll say yes. Um, was it difficult? Okay, now you can see me. Um, was it difficult to watch? Yes, but was it good? Yes. I believe you got to go see it when you have the opportunity to go see this film. Yes, this is Jonathan Major's best performance he delivered. And I can also just in terms of a cinematography perspective, a um writing perspective of the story that they told in this again. Again, I think people, will take something out of this and however they receive it. But yeah, no, I believe this is give me two thumbs up, and hopefully a good stepping stone for Jonathan moving forward in his career.
All right. Jason, was it good though?
Yes, it was. Um, Thoroughly impressed with the film. Like, I mean, you kind of, you know, when you see it. Definitely enjoyed this film. I guess it's one of the ones, I feel like I just hate we won't get what should come from what this is. Not necessarily even if it didn't go into Oscar contention, because at this point, like I get it, Mike. Like I feel like it. I do feel as if even if it isn't in one of those Oscar runs, I mean, because of when it dropped now,
That
I
don't
think
count.
that's
I debunked that. Sorry to cut you off. I debunked that. You good.
I don't know what I was going to say is I don't think that would have mattered anyway because
I
I
love you,
don't think that
Jazz. I
I
love you.
don't think I don't think that would have mattered anyway because I don't think he was that would have happened just based on everything surrounding it leading up to the movie. I felt like it would have been placed differently out there for people, but also Honora being in that conversation and this not being in there, and this is actually a good movie. Yeah, you know, yeah, my bad.
I believe somebody said why women win those Oscars for the particular roles that they are nominated
Oh yeah,
for.
that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah,
That's a
you want
that's a
Yeah.
that's
keep
a
it a
now
So
buck. You want to get an Oscar? Be a sex worker.
I appreciate Mikey's role. Mikey did a great job with what she was given, but the plot wasn't giving. You know what I mean? Like it was just her, and it was just it was just her, and just yeah, yeah. That was also like a magazine dream to an extent. She had to, she got, she
But
hit
hey,
it.
I know that's not good, but is this good? Like it's
Yeah.
good.
yeah.
Okay, you guys shaking your head. All right, cool.
Which one? Which one? Oh, this. Oh, yeah. This is good. This is good. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I know
This is
what that wasn't good, but this is good.
this is good. Yeah, this is, yeah. Don't, yeah, no. Don't see Honora.
Mm.
Shout out to y'all.
Okay. Well, Jazz, was it good though? Yes.
Yes.
How you gonna answer my question?
My bad. It's second time in a row.
Right.
I was gonna ask you, and it was Mike, by the way.
So I don't know who said it last week.
It
I
was
looked
Mike.
at motherfucker. I was looking at people's lips and I couldn't
They
even
said
see it.
what?
Sorry,
He-
Ferb.
he-
Sorry, Ferb.
Say what?
You answered my was it good though last week. And
Oh,
you
did
ain't
I?
even flinch when I said who said that. He was just sitting there because I replayed it a few times. Yeah, I peeped. But
Oh, really? I didn't
not
know.
I forgot. Yeah. He was the one who
Nigga
was
said,
delayed on answering, wasn't he? No, that was Ferb.
yeah, that was fair. That
Yeah.
was fair.
Sorry,
Blame
Ferb.
man. Blame the black man.
The whole
Uh
podcast is black.
right. But
Right. Right.
I didn't do any what did you think those for this since it recently
What's
released. So
this?
I try to, you know,
What's
not
this?
because of the movie, but because of when it released. And you hadn't
Oh,
seen it
okay.
yet. So I didn't want no spoilers to hit your timeline. God, see, I was thinking about you. But next up, we have our Link of Thrones. This is where we put you on somebody from this film that has a past project or a project coming up. This cast was very small, so I'm curious of what y'all have for your Link of Thrones. Mike, since you were here last week, I am not starting with you. Jason, who do you have as your Link of Thrones?
Uh,
He's not even ready. Oh
not.
boy.
I am not. I know who I'm gonna use though, so I can
Who?
steal it from Taylor Russell.
Of
Uh,
course. Oh no, you said
um,
Taylor Russell?
wait, hold on, wait.
Taylor
Is it?
Page?
That's it, Taylor Page. Sorry,
Okay.
Russell is slated from the other one, but yes. Can I use "We Cry Together"? That's the Kendrick Lamar video.
No, you can't use a music video. No, no, Jason.
It was
Movie or
theatrical.
TV show.
It was theatrical though.
Movie or TV show.
Okay, never mind then. Um, dun, dun. Go
You keep
back.
looking. Mike, do you have your Link of Thrones?
I'm going. I got
Uh,
it. I got it. I
okay.
got it. I'm going with Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. She was his daughter.
You talking about Taylor?
Yeah, Taylor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. All right. Mike, who do you have?
Um, I have Jonathan Majors, newlywed wife Megan Good. She's been in a lot of films. Yeah.
Hold up.
Uh, uh, oh,
She was
okay.
not in this project.
But her husband was.
Oh no, that's not how this works.
He said we
I
covered it
was like,
Like I'm
under
just
one
like,
I was
union.
like,
like
I was
what?
like,
Like
um,
what? You tried it though.
yeah, I did. Jonathan Majors, what was he's in that film that you said he's in? He got cast in that one. That's coming up soon. That's not to a project. Um,
Yeah, he got that many.
yeah. What was the movie you said he was in?
We discussed a lot of his movies.
No, the movie that he got signed to.
Oh, I know, but you can't. That's the one you want to use. True Threat.
Yeah, True Threat. Yes, because I mean, there's no other work right now at the moment, but we can
It
pray.
it can be past work too. Do something in
Okay.
the past because I need the artwork, and that artwork ain't even created yet.
Yeah. Well, okay. One of his most notable roles, Kang the Conqueror, Ant-Man 3. Um, yeah.
We
I
got
thought
an
he did great.
episode. Check that out.
Yeah, I thought he was a great, Kang. Not a movie. Yes, whatever.
It's okay.
But yeah, he was a good. No, the black man was good in this movie. Yes. And we hope he conquers more. In the future. I know there's casting announcements today, but he was in the list. But the way that list was going, I'm like anybody was off the table. I was waiting.
Listen,
Exactly.
But yes.
Exactly. Oh, it was okay. So that's what it was. So I seen the nigga the first time I seen Jonathan Majors was in the Five Bloods. Actually, that's the first time I seen him. But he was just a random nigga. Then he popped up in Lovecraft, and
mm,
then he was in the Harder They Fall. I'm like, oh, this nigga finna take off.
right.
But
Yeah.
okay, James, this who is your Lincoln Thomas, my sister?
I am going to use the character Bryce. His name is Mark Smith. He was in the movie No Good Deeds with Morris
Mm,
Chestnut.
mm, mm.
So yes. But Mike, go ahead and plug before we head out.
Yeah, you guys can follow me, subscribe at Jedi Mike 7, all socials, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, brought to you by Solo Media. At the time this recording next week, I'll be going to Vegas for CinemaCon. That's where all the studios can be dropping some footage, theater heads, theater chains, and everything. Studio execs and everything will be dropping footage there of the upcoming films and stuff come out throughout the year. So I have a ton of coverage coming for that. And make sure you sign up to my Twitter because we'll be responding and reacting to stuff real time. Press, we have access to, the live tweet when they make announcements, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, you can follow me, subscribe at Jedi Mike 7 on YouTube.
All right, all right. Be safe and have a great time in
Thank you.
Vegas.
Thank you.
Jason, was there anything you wanted to say before we signed off?
Again, appreciate everybody who following, listening. The Wood episode kind of went kind of crazy. But that's a classic. That's a black classic. So we know people gonna show up and show out for those. The Invincible episode did well. A lot of people was been hitting me up. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. Peter Parker trauma sticks out. Fuck y'all. Y'all
Are
can
people
feel
saying that
they
it
can't fight
didn't?
me. That it don't matter. They can't whoop my ass. That's all I'm
Do
saying.
they listen to the pod?
It don't matter. They can't
Oh,
whoop my ass.
even if
That's the question. That's the
that's
answer to the question. Can they
if
whoop my
you
ass?
watch or listen,
I'm
please
not
drop your
invincible.
thoughts in the comments.
I'm not
That's all
invincible.
Jazz is asking. Please.
I'm not holding back. I'm not holding back. These ain't threats. This is just real talk. Episode next week. Sterling K. Brown. We finally get into paradise. We finally getting into paradise.
Oh
Yes.
God. Man. Man, damn.
We finally getting to paradise. Yes, that's another one of those hit shows. Yes, we are getting to our
We black as hell.
Black
as hell.
We get into the black renaissance of today. But I think that's all I had. Jazz, man, this Was It Good Though podcast, episode 147, Magazine Dreams, starring the Jonathan Majors. I am one of your hosts. I am Jason.
I am Jazz.
Until next time.
Cheers.